Anthony Albanese was in WA today, and in classic politician style, he was shaking hands and kissing babies. Looking at that pic, you can see the fear in Albo's eyes, the fear of someone who knows that nothing ends an election campaign faster than dropping a premature bub. He was a bit more confident when asked about doing a deal with the Greens.
But I make this point as I've made it again because there was some reporting of something in spite of the 385 times that I have said we will not govern in coalition with anyone, including the Greens, that I rule out.
So, Albo, just to confirm, you're ruling out doing a deal with the Greens?
Just to be really clear, again, if you ask me, do you rule out governing in coalition with the Greens? The answer to that is no. No.
Wait, what?
I don't negotiate with the Greens.
Don't you say that about terrorists? Anyway, Albo went on to say that he absolutely, categorically ruled out doing a deal with the Greens.
And I'm pretty confident that I can deliver a majority of Labor members of the House of Representatives to govern the nation. Thanks very much.
But with polls currently predicting a hung parliament, does anybody really think Albo will stay on his high horse, especially if the Greens or independents pick up a few seats in the lower house?
What are your thoughts on the Prime Minister being in town?
I didn't know he was here.
Well, I didn't know he was in town, first and foremost.
I did not know that.
Didn't even know he was in town.
I didn't even know that he was, but I guess it's a good thing.
I didn't actually know he was in town, but love Albo.
Anthony Albanese was in WA today, and he had an unexpected boost in the polls. Jessica Page, did you notice him having an extra bounce in his step?
Oh, look, Ben, the PM is in campaign mode, right? And he lives and breathes election campaigns. He's a veteran of them. He definitely had energy in his step and in his voice here in Perth, flanked by the Health Minister, Mark Butler, Premier Roger Cook and local candidates. And, you know, it's day 4 of the election campaign and the babies came out. He was cuddling a newborn baby at Midland Hospital. That's when you know a federal election is on.
A Chinese research vessel, which could be code for spy ship, is currently sitting in Australian waters.
It's been in New Zealand on a joint research operation, and this isn't the first time that a similar vessel has been around the Australian coast. It was occurred in 2020, for example.
When asked if he had concerns about it, the PM had this to say.
I would have preferred that it wasn't there, but we live in circumstances where, just as Australia has vessels in the South China Sea and vessels in the Taiwan Strait and a range of areas, this vessel is there.
Now, the obvious question is, why is it there in the first place? Now, Mark Riley is on the campaign trail with the Prime Minister, and he is following this story closely. Mark, what can you tell us about the reasons this ship is in Australian waters?
Yeah, very little, and that's the problem, Ben. That we know it's been in New Zealand waters, and it's now crossing the Australian territorial waters and passing through on the way back to China. But what it's doing, we don't know, and that is the concern.
And the PM has said he would prefer if it wasn't there. Do you think that sort of response will do anything to address, I guess, the feeling in some sections of the electorate that he's not so strong on some of these issues of international diplomacy?
I think for those who believe that, they'll just reaffirm it. What he's trying to do is to say that I think, play it down, that it's not a great threat to our national security in the way that he's addressed this, but also seen that, by saying that he's not concerned, that the people shouldn't be concerned. But every time one of these Chinese ships turns up unannounced in our waters, of course, it raises concerns among the Australian community about national security. Why are they doing it? It's an obviously provocative act. The thing that Anthony Albanese did say, though, is that there are a lot of Australian vessels who are operating in the South China Sea in a very similar places, and also in concert with US vessels, Filipino, British, Japanese and Korean vessels in those waters. So there's a bit of tit for tat going on.